This is Mark Brenneman, and this is my KW story.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our My KW story that we're going through today. We have none other than the fantastic Mark Brenneman here, and he is an RD and Master Faculty member and Leverage Series instructor, as well as many other hats he's worn through the years. And we're going to hear how Mark accidentally got tricked into joining Keller Williams, it sounds like, based on my interview with him earlier. So, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. I greatly appreciate it, and I know everyone here watching this video does as well.
Yeah, it was one of the one of the biggest mistakes I almost made was not becoming part of KW. So yeah, back in 2003, as you know, I was actually leaving 20 years of being in the financial world. At some point, I was a CPA and CFO and controller and all kinds of other things, and it really decided that I needed to do something different. And I was actually about to become a stockbroker. I was weeks away from taking my Series 7 and 13, and a friend of mine in Cleveland, Ohio, which is where I'm originally from, called me up and said, "Hey, I have a really good friend, and he's about to start this real estate venture." That was the word he used, venture. He said, "You really had to go talk to him." And so I said, fine. So we connected with this guy, and he sent me a disc assessment. It was a very poorly copied fax thing.
Piece of paper.
Yeah,
Yep.
filled it up. I had no idea.
I remember the old paper copies that we used to use. Yep.
Yeah. So I show up at this office on Chagrin Boulevard in Cleveland, and it said Keller Williams, and I thought, I don't know who they are, and I really didn't do any research. And I walk in, and there's a board with a list of names on it. There must have been 15 names on it, and I went, oh my gosh, that's the lady that sold the house where my kids and my ex-wife are living. And I thought, oh, this is residential real estate. And I kid you not, I almost walked out. Front desk lady was really nice, and it would have been rude to walk out. I wouldn't do that. And I sat down with the gentleman. His name was John Ludwig. To this day, I'm always so grateful for the chance that he gave me. And he had been in the industry his whole life, and he explained to me two things. One, he kind of explained the Keller Williams compensation model. And I'd come most recently out of the industrial commercial development world where commercial real estate agents sold our stuff. And I also played golf with some guys that were really successful residential real estate people. So I kind of understood how the economics work, and the broker kept a disproportionate share of the money. So the cap model intrigued me. But the other thing he said to me, and this kind of stuck with me forever, he said, look, he said, if you get involved, he said, I've been in this industry my whole life, and he had been very accomplished, built one of the largest companies in Cleveland prior to retiring and then starting KW. And he said, if you get involved in this industry and you treat it like a business, there's not a lid on the opportunity available to you. And it's funny, Liz, every time that I teach, I tell that story, no matter who my audience is, because it gives me goosebumps actually, in terms of all the amazing things that have happened to me as a result of saying yes to that team leader opportunity in Cleveland.
Well, it's interesting. When we look at that, you said that you would have walked out if it wouldn't have been rude, right? If no one had seen you, you were just waiting there. You'd have probably walked out and been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I got the date wrong. Hey, this opportunity's not going to work out."
I had
Right?
a flat tire on the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
All
got
the
pulled
things,
over.
all
Sure.
the things that went wrong, right? Thankfully, there was somebody there, the front desk, and you did not do your research. That worked out well for everybody here. Um, but you got this opportunity, and it's interesting when you look at that, because when we do some of these KW stories and we look at people's life stories, we always find what we call these ignition moments, right? The pivotal moment when things changed on a trajectory. And that accidental appointment in a residential real estate place was an ignition moment, not only for you, but it was an ignition moment for Keller Williams, because you've had a very large impact in the Keller ecosphere over the last 20 years as well.
Well, they've had far bigger impact on me than I have. Thank you for saying that.
Flattery will get me everywhere one day, I promise.
Yeah. So, I took the TL role, and at that time, MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, had just been published, and actually went to a event like my fourth day. Dave Jenks was teaching, and I literally took that book and internalized it so that I could become credible as a coach and consultant and trainer. And we did well in Cleveland. We grew quickly. We back then it was get to 100. We got there in our first year, and I was vacationing in Hilton Head in my second year. And we had all these plans in Cleveland, and I met the people that were about to open an office here, and lo and behold, I got tapped on the shoulder and they said, "Hey, how would you like to come to Hilton Head and be the team leader?" And by the way, I love the people in Northeast Ohio. I'm still a diehard Browns fan, whatever. But man, the climate's a whole lot nicer here. So I
It's
became a team.
not a hard
Yeah,
choice there.
yeah,
If I'm looking at scenery, it's
yeah.
not a hard choice there.
So I moved to Hilton Head in an office that was starting from scratch pretty much again, and just built that really quickly. So woke up 3 years into that, and
Yeah, it's interesting. When we look at it, so you come from outside of the real estate world, wouldn't have taken the opportunity had you known what you were going to be speaking about. You succeeded as a leader and a recruiter and a developer of others in your first market center that you were in as a team leader, well enough that you were offered a second opportunity in a more advantageous location for you and succeeded in that, but you'd never sold a house.
yeah, and
You were
and I
never a real estate agent.
yeah, and I realized that I aspire. I used to go to the big events and go, man, I want to be that person on stage. Or I would go to a regional training class and go, I want to be that person. I want to have the impact on more people. And I knew that I had to have sold houses to make that happen. So in December of 07, my wife and I had our only child, and with Val, my second wife. And I said to her in January, I'm going to quit the TL role and I'm going to become the OP, and I'm going to start a sales business. And it was January of 08. Now, anyone that has any recollection of what
Great
was
time to
going
be in
on in
real
08,
estate, Mark.
yeah, it was hard. I mean, it was hard, right? And I did everything I had learned through teaching Camp 443, and just really embracing the systems and models that Gary, Jay, and Dave had so eloquently put together in the Red Book. And I just did all the activities. I was the first guy in the office in the morning. I was the last guy to leave. I work Saturdays. I work Sundays. My first listing, I think I told you this, was a FISBO. And the lady said, I said, "Why'd you hire me?" And she goes, "You were the only person that called." And it
Yeah.
was just, yeah, I did those things, and I sat 4 times.
Nobody really wanted listings in '08.
Yeah.
No one was being
Yeah, but that listing I never
except for
sold
the smart people.
I never sold it, but I generated 3 buyer sales from it. And it gave me something to market myself to. And then, I sat floor time in the office, and the guy, one of the asset managers for a very large bank, walks in and goes, "Do you know anything about this property?" And I knew a lot about this one property because it had been a short sale. And he goes, "I'm going to do what takes 6 months and 2 weeks. I'm going to get you on as one of our preferred agents." And all of a sudden I became an REO agent at the best time on the planet to be an REO agent. I took
The best time, but why did you get that opportunity? Because you were putting in the hours, doing the work, and you were there when he walked in.
Yeah, I have an adage. You get up, you want to succeed in this business, it's real simple. You get up, dress up, show up, and do your job. And your job is to make contact with as many people as possible. I walked into a coffee shop one day and met 12 elderly ladies when I was teaching, before I even sold, who later on, by just simply developing a relationship with them, became my biggest fans in my sales business. One lady alone, we've sold 6 houses to her family members. In fact, my wife just sold a 7-figure home to her recently as a result. So you just do the activities. That's it.
Do what that red book says. It's amazing when you do those foundational things that the red book says, that it produces results, time on task over time. Now, you did something else in 2008 aside from launch your real estate business after being a successful team leader for 2 years, which was probably questionably crazy to some people. However, you did something else in 2008 because you have a passion for teaching. What was that?
Yeah, I actually went through the process to become what was newly coined a KW approved trainer. Went to train the trainer 1, train the trainer 2, and then in the Carolinas, Holly Prescott actually had started this program called the Carolinas Education Service, which gave those of us that wanted to teach the opportunity to go to other markets and teach. And through that, I really developed the passion for wanting to be able to do that at a larger scale. And that really put me on the path to become a master faculty member, which was something I'd always dreamt of. And why? It's the opportunity to affect more people in less time than anything else you do. You can put a few hundred people in a classroom and have an impact on, pick a number of however many it is, that they take home and do something that changes the trajectory of their life, just like John changed the trajectory of my life when he hired me in the KW. Awesome.
So you became an agent, right? You were an OP at the time you became an agent as well. So
Right.
you were currently the operating
Team, lead-
principal of the
team,
market
team
center.
leader, OP, agent.
Hmm.
I became at the end of my second full year, I was the number 4 individual agent in the Carolinas. So I built a really good singular business, individual business. I never really succeed. I never listened. I made all the mistakes people make when you build a team. You hire a person and let them sell and not do the admin work. I made all those mistakes. And so, I just made really good money and had a really good business, but that's not what I wanted to do. So an
So
opportunity.
yeah, your path began to change. Where did it take you after that? So you were making good money, you were selling houses because you knew you needed that experience to have validity in places. You'd begun teaching, but selling houses wasn't your passion. Where did the world take you next?
um, an opportunity arose in the Carolinas region to become what at that time they called it regional area director. So our regional director was stepping into a different role and replacing herself with 2 people. And so what I've learned, and this is my advice to everyone: you have to raise your hand in this company, because unlike my previous life experiences where I always seem to get tapped on the shoulder, there is so much talent in KW that talent can sometimes not be seen unless they make sure they raise their hand. So I raised my hand and I said, look, I've done this, 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 and this. I think I deserve an opportunity to at least talk about the regional role. And lo and behold, I got that opportunity. And that 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 opened so many more doors. The opportunity to have,
About the regional role that attracted you. What did you like about
well, I'm a business. I mean, my whole background is I'm a business person, and I really believe that a lot of people in our industry have never really received proper business training. And so, from my standpoint, the regional role allowed me to work with business owners, both at the sales associate level and at the individual, franchisor level, to help them build stronger, better businesses, help them teach the language of business, which is really, the numbers are the language of business, and
that?
people shy away from that. And so to me, it was to be able to have a bigger impact and also create more opportunities for my family. Lo and behold, through that journey of being a regional director, I worked with Mike Tavner, who, God rest his soul, passed away a few years back. But Mike was the pioneer in the Carolinas, and then they made a decision to sell the region back to Keller Williams Realty. And I worked for John Davis, and John had a real positive impact on my future. I mean, I was held accountable unlike any other time of my life. I can promise you that. And we got results, and then lo and behold, John leaves, and Gary becomes my boss. And so to have the opportunity to sit in the room with the greatest, first of all, one of the best human beings I've ever met, if not the best. And he doesn't get credit for that all the time, I don't think. And also probably the greatest mind I've ever had the opportunity to be around. I mean, the way the man thinks. So yeah, it's been cool. And then I get tapped on the shoulder. I become a divisional leader for the last, I guess it was 3 years, 4 years. Now those roles are changed and all that. And now I'm getting the regional director of the Carolinas. We top 4 region in almost every category known to mankind.
That's a rumor has it y'all do all right over
Because
there.
because I get to work with incredible leaders. I'm very blessed. And so Keller Williams changed my life. And in this industry today still has every opportunity that I've been afforded, and actually more. We talk about
Well, looking
things
at it,
than back then.
yeah, there's so much opportunity for those that sees it, right? I love your shirt of where entrepreneurs thrive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We get conversations sometimes. People are like, well, I want an opportunity. You said it earlier. Did you raise your hand for it? Did you hunt it down? Did you prepare yourself for when the opportunity was there that you were the right and the best candidate in it? It's right. Entrepreneurs are they're going to hunt those opportunities, and that's what it's about. If we had to pull a moral of the story, the thing you want people to take away from watching this today, what would that thing be?
Boy, that's a great question. The moral, I guess the moral of the story is um, never allow your limiting beliefs to get in the way of what's possible. I had a limiting belief about this industry. I really did. I mean, I really did. And no offense to anybody, but I hadn't had the most positive experiences working with real estate professionals, and I didn't have an appreciation for what it's like. So don't allow any limiting belief to get in the way. And I think I've heard Gary say it over and over again. You can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. If I turn the clock back 5 years ago to from where we are today, I mean, I had the opportunity to spend 2 days with Mo Anderson in our house this past summer. Do you know? I mean, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I would 5 years ago. I mean, I would have never even thought that was a possibility. But because I'm a master faculty member and I'm willing to go teach and train, I get to learn from some of the best minds in both the industry and the best minds in American business.
Well, and it's I think one of the key things here, and you've mentioned it several times, how much you love training and pouring into others so they can have the impact to make on others. I think that's one of the great things that not only has Keller Williams provided for people, but people like you continue to provide to other people in there, right? It's they're pouring it in and they're bringing back. It's not just I have this thing and I'm going to keep it. It's bringing it back to everybody else.
Yeah, I think it's a mindset of abundance. If you have that abundant mentality and stay out of the scarcity mentality. And look, the last 3 or 4 years we've lived through unusual times. It brought some scarcity that we didn't experience before. We can overcome that. Very much so. All starts right here. All
Yep,
starts
I
here.
like it.
And you gotta love what you
Start
do, and I love what I do each and every day.
and see if you'd have never taken that meeting, if you'd have done a little research first, you might not be here, Mark.
Yeah, thank,
Who
thank,
knows?
thank goodness I wing it sometimes.
Well, I want to thank you all who have watched this video today, and thank you, Mark, for your time, especially on there. I hope this was impactful. I hope we get the moral of the story on there, and we will see you all next time on our My KW Stories.